Hello there, everybody. Welcome to this edition of the Sepsis Survivors, her story, our story, basically, as we went through it as a couple, but she was the one who actually had it. This is part number 4, and we've covered so far kind of as she got sick beforehand and went to the hospital or the emergency, to the month she spent in the hospital, ICU type hospital, regular hospital, fighting for her life. And part 3, we did some at the Mary Free Bed, which was the rehabilitation hospital. And that's kind of where we left off, with her going through some of her different things to learn how to walk again, to talk, to think, to basically do everything. So if you missed any of those videos, make sure you check out our playlist, as we've got all 3 of those in the playlist. So check... make sure you hit subscribe if you like this type of video and our haul videos and all that. Hit that bell if you want to be notified, of course. And make sure when you hit that bell, you turn your notifications on your phone also, if that's where you're watching it, because else they don't come through if you don't have your notifications on. Just a little tip there. I learned that myself the other day. So, anyways, let's get into this video here, honey. So you were in the rehab hospital, and Mary Free Bed, one of the world-renowned ones, of course, as we've stated before. And you could hardly walk. I mean, we went through all that, but we didn't quite bring it up to like the end of the hospital area. How did you progress? How were you at the time, just before you were going to be leaving there?
From the memory that I have of this, because my memory is really bad because of the sepsis,
Right.
I had OT and PT and speech and all this and that, and I do remember there was a time when the speech person came in and was trying to work with me, and I looked at her and I said, "Can you please just shut up?"
Right. Yep, and you did share that in the last video
I
as well.
did share that?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't know if I shared that or not. See, this is what I mean, you guys.
Yep, it's part of the sepsis.
Part of sepsis. Okay, so we're just going to take the little tidbit out. We're just not going to worry about it. So, up to speed. So, one of the things that they do, that they have to do in order, when you go to rehab hospital, is their job is to make sure you rehab to be able to go home.
Right.
So, I had to learn how to walk up steps with equipment, with a cane and with a walker.
Right.
In order to go home.
Right, and when you went home, maybe I get a little bit ahead here, but what were you going to be coming home with? What did you think at this time that you were going to have to deal with?
That was part of the thing that I broke down and cried, because when they said I was going home, and then I overheard the nurse say to another nurse, "I think she's going home with the IV pole." And the IV, I panicked, and I was just like, how am I supposed to have an IV pole, have a colostomy, have 2 drainage tubes going out of my back, have a wound vac machine hooked to the front of me?
Right.
How am I going to do this?
Yeah.
And I lost it, completely broke down and lost it. I could not even fathom how I was going to do this, because I knew when I was going home that he was going to have to go back to work. He'd already missed a ton of work. I knew that when we rehabbed enough. Now, remember, when Mike, where we lived at, Mike was very close to home, and he did come home a few times and check on me. And if I really needed him, all I had to do was call him, and he'd be there in a minute. So it wasn't like I was left alone. And so, anyway, so the doctor came in, and she's like, "Honey, what's the matter?" And I just lost it again. She said, "Honey, I'm not sending you home with that pole." She goes, "We'll do oral antibiotics. It's okay." And then it was like a huge weight came off me, because I was like, okay, that's one piece of something I don't have to deal with.
Finally, something's
I got the port taken out. I got that pole taken out, because it was, that's what this was doing, and it was just too much.
Right.
So
do you think, I know at this point you were trying to really push to go home. Do you think you were ready?
Nope. I had no business going. I should not have went home. I should have stayed where I was at, but I had it in my head. 2 things. 1, Thanksgiving is my absolute favorite holiday of all times, and I really, really, really wanted to be home with my family.
Right.
2, I needed to get back to work. How I was going to do that in the shape I was, I don't know, but we couldn't survive on just Mike's income. There's just no way. And I was only getting 60% of my wage. And then on top of that, my boss had already held my job for 5 months. I didn't think I was going to have it. They couldn't fire me. They'd have to give me a job to get rid of my position. They could have.
Right.
So I should have stayed probably another month because I needed that rehab, the rehabilitation, because I didn't follow that. I suffered from just not being able to do the things I should have been able to do. I mean, even to this day, it's hard for me to lift up my left leg to put them into my pants because I'm so weak in the hips, and it's just awful.
Right. And so, excuse me, have a dry throat. So at this point, but at that point, you thought, well, you just wanted to be home. You were done with hospitals. I don't blame you.
Right.
I mean, you wanted to be done and out of the hospitals.
I wanted to be home and be with him, and I just wanted to be home.
Right. So then, at this point here, you're getting ready to leave, and at the hospital, you could walk some now. You could walk down the whole hallway. I mean, she was very fatigued still. I mean, she could not. No way in shape was she enough to go back to work at this point, even limited. Mm-hmm. So, but she was able to walk the length of the hallway. Her mind was a little bit clearer. Mm-hmm. If you go back and watch videos around this time, just look for the ones that are over the hospital, and then thereafter you can kind of see what she looked like. She had lost a lot of weight due to malnutrition and things during all this. She also, where are they going with this? She also,
my hair.
Yeah, lost her hair, but that was coming when she went home. So now she's going home, and she has to be able to get in and out of the car. She has to be able to get up those steps, and I was with her the whole time for those. And so why don't you take it back? You know, we're getting in the car now. We're leaving the hospital. We're happy, but we're also nervous. We know we gotta get her up them stairs with all this stuff, even though she's been practicing.
It was how many stairs? 9 stairs?
9 or 10 stairs, but
for a person who has a walker,
yes, this is
that is a mountain.
Certain techniques you have to do,
and it's not like you could stop and turn around and say, "Okay, I don't want to do this." It was either we do it or we don't.
Right.
And he was determined that we were going to do this. So Mike was awesome. I couldn't have asked for a better partner when it came to that. He was right behind me, and he said, we're going to take it one step at a time. And it was exhausting. I was so tired that when I got up into the apartment and got into my chair, I think I fell asleep.
Yeah, oh yeah, that was all pure exhaustion after that. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
there's nothing else she could do at that point.
Mm-hmm.
So we were at home. We were thankful.
Very thankful. I was just very, very thankful.
Yeah. And so she had to basically sleep in the chair because, you know, our bed was kind of high. That first day home, do you remember anything? I mean, I don't think anything exciting really happened there other than...
Well, Mike was so sweet because he wanted to feed me, and I still had no appetite, and I wanted no coffee. I didn't drink coffee for probably 4 months.
Yeah, it was mainly water, wasn't it?
All I wanted was water, and I wanted Sprite. That was it.
Yeah.
And at this time, I had lost probably 75 pounds in the hospital. I had already had gastric bypass, so I'd already lost pretty much all of my weight. So then we lost more weight. And I'm thinking, okay, this will be okay. I wish I could reverse that clock because my metabolism tanked.
Right. Wow.
So I had no get up and go, and I couldn't make myself, the weight piled on.
Right.
And it is frustrating. It's very frustrating for me because I worked very hard to get that weight off. Mm-hmm. And I will do it again.
Yes.
Anyway, so the first night, Mike was sweet, and he was trying to feed me, and he would just give me little bits of something. And we're talking little bits, like 3 tiny little crackers broke up because I still couldn't swallow that well because I had just had that trach removed. And so you're because I was intubated, so you've got all that stuff going on. Your throat's sore, and so I couldn't eat a lot. I couldn't drink a lot, but I knew I had to because I had to be able to take 1.5 million of pills.
Right.
I came home with so many pills, it was ridiculous.
Crazy, and all the medical equipment for the colostomy bag that you had.
That was a joy. That was kind of shitty. Just kidding. No pun intended.
So once you got home, though, talking about the colostomy bag. then we were kind of on our own with that.
Yes,
So,
that was a
I
hot
mean,
mess.
I mean, they had taught me in the hospital. They had taught her in the hospital.
I already knew how to do them because I worked with them.
Right. But we went with the disposable ones instead of the ones you empty and all clean out and all this good stuff. And that colostomy was just a pain in the butt for her. I felt so bad for her because she got so raw around that area that we had to stick the pads on and all that stuff. It's just a nightmare.
It was not fun. It was necessary. I get why I had to have it done, but it was the thing that angered me was the week before I get my reversal. Thank you, Jesus. By the way,
Yes.
I get told by the nurse, "Well, there's a stoma nurse here that you could have worked with," and I'm like, "You think maybe you could have told somebody that? Because we had no idea about this."
Yeah, because you didn't get the reversal until, what, 9 months later?
9 months later.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. I was never so happy, but that's another part of the story. So
Yeah.
I came home, and so Mike, I remember I haven't been home in 2 months. My house doesn't look like it did when it left at all. Because Mike wasn't there for 2 months, so everything got piled. So he was trying to like make pass for me and this and that, and so I would just maneuver, and my world was basically going from the bathroom to my chair to the bathroom to my chair to the kitchen. And that's it.
Yeah, because I wasn't there during the day a lot of times. And
I didn't even go into our room until I had to, and then I had to when the nurse came to change bandages. I had to be able to lay down. I'm like, oh my God,
yeah,
how am I going to do this? Because I can't. Our bed was high, and I'm like, oh, but I managed and I figured it out.
yep. And when you came home, was it weird kind of seeing the change in season?
That was so weird. I still can't. I still to this day can't wrap my mind around that I lost a month.
Right, and a whole change of seasons happened during that time.
I missed fall, the whole thing of fall.
Yeah.
You know, so that was really, really weird. The one thing, and I still have it here, Mike went and bought me an omelet pan because they told me to conserve my energy to put foods and things like that on counters.
Right.
Because I don't need to be reaching up for things right now. That was not their concern. This is what they did. So he got me this really very lightweight omelet pan. I still have it. It works like a champ. Love it. And it was basically just eating. I think I ate an omelet every day for 90 days because it was easy, it was light, and I could make it by myself.
Yeah, she liked that. Started getting independence and stuff. Now there was one time when you were at home that you called me from work because you couldn't get out of something.
Out of the chair, and I
Yes.
panicked. We had Mike's mom and dad's old recliner, which we had some of the value, but it was old. And I was not strong enough to take that handle and push it forward, and it got stuck. So I'm trying to do everything I can to get this unstuck. I called Mike crying. He's like, honey, I can come home if you need me to, but it's going to be a minute. Well, then my phone had rang after I got off the phone. It was my daughter, Angie. And she's like, Mom, what's the matter? And I was just hysterically crying. I'm like, I can't get out of my chair. I don't know what I'm going to do. She's like, Mom, it's okay. She goes, hold on a minute. She goes, I'll call her right back. So she calls me back about 10 minutes later, and she goes, you have a brand new chair coming on Saturday, which was 3 days later. So that's the one I have in my living room. It's a Lazy Boy. I love it. It's like laying on soft pillows.
Yeah, it was such a blessing. It was just brings back memories. Sorry about getting emotional, people, but it brings back memories of just the things that we went through. And even with the new chair, we still had to set up like
A chair
a chair
that you're sitting in.
like the chair I'm sitting in right now next to there, so she could get up. I mean, this is even after rehab and everything. It was very difficult for her even to get up out of the chair with her
I had
strength.
no strength.
So, at this point, you were at home, and this is kind of where this video is. You're at home most of the time during the day. You were alone. Once in a while, somebody would come over, but not too often. Other people had to work too.
But I had lots of therapies. I had
Right.
nursing coming. I had PT coming, OT coming. I had tons of. There was somebody at our house every day during the week.
Right to because they would bring therapy right to the house.
Right.
Since you went
And
home.
the one thing that I absolutely hated, it was necessary, but I hated it, was the wound vac.
Oh,
If you got one little tiny air bubble in there, the machine would go off and ding and ding and ding and ding and ding, and it did this in the middle of the night, and all you can do is call a nurse, and that's what their job is. They work third shift.
right,
There was the one night that the nurse came and she has to redo the bandage, and we're
Right.
talking a big area
right,
because I'm like I told you, I was cut from my up by my stomach down by way down below. Anyways, and so she fixed this all up. 2 hours later, it sprung a leak again, and she had to come back out again. And
Right.
so I felt so bad about that because I'm like, I'm bothering this lady, and Mike's like, that's her job. You got to not be like that. And I said, I know, but it's just really hard, and you know, because I just feel bad because all these people are trying to help me, and I'm just like, I'm helpless. I can't do anything.
right, right.
But we got through that part, and little by little, I was itching to get into my bedroom because that's
Right.
where my craft room was.
She wanted
So-
to get back to crafting.
I wanted to get to my crafting area, and because we had just moved everything from the living room to back into my bedroom. Because remember, I had a knee replacement, so Mike brought all my crafting stuff out into the living room because that's where I was for most of the time. So then we had already moved it back in. So I finagled my way in there and got myself set up there, and I had one mad husband. He was pissed off. He's like, what are you doing, Lisa? You can't be back in here doing all this, and you're gonna fall. Then what? I ain't gonna fall. It's all my crafting stuff. Leave me alone.
She was determined, and she did. So
I needed that therapy, though. I needed to have something because I just needed it.
something to move. And I remember, as she started getting stronger at home, we're going through points of weeks here. I did laundry all this time. And I get home and she got some laundry done. Mind you, I'm talking a little pile of laundry. It wasn't basically enough to fit in a purse, pretty much. But I said, honey, what did you do? Because the laundry wasn't in her house. You had to go down the stairs, and then down the stairs, and then in, and then you had to get all the way up the stairs, and then up the stairs again. So we're talking a lot of stairs, and also trying to carry something. Well, she goes, I just had this bag. She had like one of those bags you carry books and stuff in, like a book bag. And she said, I just threw it over the stairs, and then I made it down all the stairs, and then I picked it up, and then I did that little bit of laundry, and then she just kind of carried it up slowly up the stairs. Granted, I don't know if that little load was worth it, but it was good. I think it was good exercise for her at that point.
He
But
just didn't like me doing that by myself.
I was angry about it because I wish she would have just waited for me to be there to try it the first time, but she doesn't do that kind of thing. So, but yeah, and as weeks went, you got some strength back and all this, and at this point, how much later was it when you went to work from the time you got home? Was it a couple months?
I came home
A few months? I don't even
2
remember.
days before Thanksgiving, and that was, what would that be, November 25th, something like that. And I went back to work on February 1st.
So let's just call it 2.5, 3 months. 3 months later. So 5 months altogether off work.
Right.
And so,
I had no business going back to work either. I was not ready. Not at all.
right, you went there too early also.
Yep.
But, so during all this, we were just dealing with these same things over and over again every night. The wound vac, this to that. But eventually,
Our nighttime routine was crazy.
yeah, it was just not a lot of sleep.
Nope.
Off and on. And so the routines kept on going. And how long before did you get rid of the drainage, what do you call them, things?
Well, one of the things that made us angry was I broke one of the drainage tubes.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
So the nurse called there and tried to get an appointment made, and they just kind of blew it off and poo-pooed it off and this and that. And she's like, she's had the drainage tube removed. Well, we don't know if we're gonna put it back in. We don't know what we're gonna do yet. 3 weeks later, and I finally lost it. And I said, listen, I have a drainage tube in my back that's broken. You need to take it out.
Right.
Because I'm not doing this. So I'm telling you right now, you're going to take it out. I'm telling you, you're taking that out of my body. And that's what they did.
Right, we had to go back and do some little surgeries, little minor things to take that stuff out. I think they just did local things for the most part.
That's a weird feeling too when you get the tubing pulled out. You can feel it.
Yeah.
It's a weird feeling.
So we eventually had those out like a month after we were home, I think, roughly, let's say.
A month after home, and then
the wound vac was
we graduated to wet to dry.
Wet to dry. You didn't have to do the other. Okay.
And the wet to dry was it healed up quite nicely. That doctor that Mike talked to you about that came into my room when I was dying, he was phenomenal. He knew what he was doing. That wound vac is done for a purpose, for a reason.
It was a pain in the butt, but it did what it's basically it needed to heal from the inside out instead
you can't just
being
stitch
closed.
somebody right. You can't just stitch somebody up in a stomach lining because it's just not going to work.
Well, they were going to do that, but then, like I said, when he came in there, it just stunk to high heaven, so they opened it back up, etc. That's in other videos, but so you're at home, and I guess we'll just kind of stop this at this point, because it's kind of day in, day out, getting a little bit better, getting a little bit stronger, doing the same things, trying to do your rehab, trying to get you out and about, trying to get you to be able to drive a car, all these things.
Remember when we went to Thanksgiving, 2 days after I got out of the hospital? That was crazy.
We went to Thanksgiving.
At Sarah and CJ's.
Sarah and CJ's. Oh, yes. All the whole family was there. That was a big trip for her. Trust me.
I fell asleep in their recliner. Probably 15 minutes after I got there, and I was out for a good hour. And then I got up and had dinner and this and that. And I couldn't even help them with dinner because I was too weak.
But it's good to be there with the whole family.
Yes, it was.
And,
I told you I was going to be home by Thanksgiving. I was.
Yeah.
So, but anyways, you guys, I just appreciate you guys listening and commenting, and we love doing this video, and I think we got 1 or 2 more segments of this.
Yeah, we'll have at least one more segment coming up where we're going to kind of start the video probably about when she went back to work and kind of what that's like from there to the present. I mean, she still has issues regarding this that still affect her life and my life and everything, so... at least one more video explaining up to that point from going to work and how that's went and on to the present, basically.
Yep, absolutely.
So thank you everybody for watching this video. Make sure you like, share, comment on this video. If you haven't watched the other ones, go back into the playlist like I said. There's 3 other videos and now there'll be this one in there. And catch up with those other videos.
All right, you guys. We love you so much. Thanks a lot. Have a good day.
Thanks, guys.